Part 38. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 371. Chapter 371 Fighting for Favor. After finishing the meal, Yang Zizi sat across from Lun Zhenqi and ate his meal, feeling jealous in his heart. Lun Zhenqi was hugging Xiao Tian and kept making her happy, but he was completely left out. While eating, I really couldn't eat any more. I placed the bowl heavily on the table, pouted, and looked at the father and son opposite me with dissatisfaction. Had I known earlier, I shouldn't have fought so hard to get pregnant with a second child. Lun Zhenqi also seemed to notice that his wife was in a mood. Baby, don't be angry. Lun Zhenqi quickly put Xiao Tian on the sofa and ran over to comfort Yang Zizi. Yang Zizi broke away from him and gave him a disgusted look, not wanting him to touch her. Go away, don't you like your daughter very much? Go and hold her, no matter what I do. Yang Zizi has such a stubborn temper that he can't be coaxed no matter how hard he is. Baby, I will only hold you in my arms from now on. Lun Zhenqi hugged Yang Zizi tightly with a strong desire to survive. Really, Yang Zizi looked aggrieved and hurt, and tears were about to fall. He has met thousands of love rivals in his life, but this youngest love rival is the most difficult to deal with. Woo woo woo. Suddenly, Xiao Tian, who was lying on the sofa, could not feel the warmth of Lun Zhenqi, and burst into tears, which happened to interrupt the conversation between Yang Zizi and Lun Zhenqi. Lun Zhenqi was really in a dilemma when he looked at his little lover in his previous life and then at his wife. Go quickly, your daughter is crying, Yang Zizi said in a calm tone, neither serious nor serious. Lun Zhenqi didn't dare to act rashly. He felt that his wife was testing him and he couldn't make a decision easily. It's okay. Lun Zhenqi waved his hand, pretending not to care about anything. You are really big-hearted. Yang Zizi stood up without saying a word and ran over to pick up Xiao Tian and coax her. Lun Zhenqi looked confused. Wasn't she testing herself? Could it be that she had thought wrong? Xiao Tian, who was held and coaxed by Yang Zizi, was still crying loudly and showed no signs of stopping. Honey, let me do it. Lun Zhenqi came over and wanted to take Xiao Tian from Yang Zizi's hand. Looking cautiously, for fear of making Yang Zizi jealous again. Yang Zizi had no choice but to hand Xiao Tian to Lun Zhenqi. Hey, this little guy really fell into the arms of Lun Zhenqi and stopped crying immediately. No, Yang Zizi is jealous again. The daughter she has worked so hard to conceive for more than 5 years actually only loves Lun Zhenqi and doesn't love herself. This little guy has such double standards at such a young age. After all, I am also the biological mother who worked hard to bring you into this world. Lun Zhenqi coaxed Xiao Tian, and after a few minutes, Xiao Tian fell into sleep. She slept peacefully, and her rosy little face was particularly cute. Yang Zizi leaned over to take a look and cut into her fleshy little face. You little guy, is your mother poisonous? She makes you cry non-stop, Yang Zizi said angrily, but he loved her very much in his heart. Xiao Tian is just sleepy, and she has a habit of falling asleep in my arms, Lun Zhenqi explained. Yang Zizi naturally knew that no one could coax this little one to sleep, and only Lun Zhenqi could coax her to sleep. Of course I know, I just think this little guy knows how to look for good-looking ones at a young age, Yang Zizi said with a smile. Her daughter's taste will not be vulgar in the future. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 372. Chapter 372 Little Niece. The next day, Gui Chen walked in holding Xiao En's hand. Brother-in-law, we are here to have a meal. This voice sounds so familiar. Yang Zizi walked out of the room and was very happy for them when they saw that they had successfully cultivated themselves. Sister-in-law Yang Zizi ignored Gui Chen, walked around him, walked to Xiao En, held her hand, and greeted her cordially. Xiao En looked at this strange yet familiar girl. She was a little overwhelmed by this sudden call, and at the same time she felt a little warm in her heart. Xiao En glanced at Gui Chen Chen and asked him to introduce himself. Gui Chen Chen reacted and introduced to Xiao En, Xiao En, this is my biological sister Yang Zizi, and my brother-in-law Lun Zhenqi, he is the of War of the Blood Clan, and there are others. Gui Chen Chen saw the eyes of the little niece, whom she had never met before, immediately softened, and she trotted over to hug her. This is my little niece Xiao Tian Tian. He couldn't put it down and wanted to take Xiao Tian Tian from Lun Zhenqi's hand. Oh, Xiao Tian Tian, look at your uncle, I am Uncle Gui Chen Chen, do you miss your uncle? Yang Zizi looked at Gui Chen Chen, who carelessly doted on his niece, and really didn't know what to say. They had never met before, so why did they miss him so much? Zizi, I am Xiao En, Gui Chen Chen's girlfriend. Xiao En felt sweet in her heart, but she didn't expect Gui Chen Chen to have such a good-looking family member. I know, my brother often talks about you to us, saying that you are a very, very good girl. Of course, we have met hundreds of years ago. You should remember it. Yang Zizi. While talking, he pulled Xiao En to sit on the sofa. Since Gui Chen Chen chose to transform her, it means that Gui Chen Chen definitely told her everything that happened before and transferred all the memories to her brain after transforming her. Well, I already know that. Xiao En nodded, so he felt that this girl was both familiar and strange to him. Yang Zizi and Xiao En held hands and chatted, seemingly talking about anything. When you talk to someone you are interested in, you will look up and laugh. Two people seem to have many similar interests and have common interests. Gui Chen Chen seemed to be on another channel, and he had been trying his best to make Xiao Tian Tian happy, but Lun Zhenqi was left alone with no one to talk to. A family looks like it has 3 channels. About 5 hours later, Yang Zizi and Xiao En had almost finished talking. Lun Zhenqi finally couldn't bear the loneliness and said, "It's time for us to go back." He glanced at his wife secretly, and his eyes told her, "Wife, you seem to have forgotten me for a long time." Yang Zizi received this look, stood up immediately, held Lun Zhenqi's arm, and said with a smile, "Let's go back to the vampire clan now, don't keep our brothers waiting. Xiao Tian Tian must be looking forward to our uncles too." Xiao Tian Tian chuckled, seeming to be looking forward to the other uncles she had never met before. When Gui Chen Chen heard about the other uncles, he immediately felt a sense of crisis. If he came to the vampire clan, his brothers would definitely surround Xiao Tian Tian. By then, he would not even have a chance to show his face in front of Xiao Tian Tian. So Xiao Tian Tian will soon forget what he looks like. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 373. Chapter 373. New group favorite. How about we go back in a few days? We can't delay any longer. I told my brothers that we will go back today. They should be waiting for us at the door and must be ready. Yang Zizi said that he could not let his brothers work in vain. How about we buy some things and go back to the vampire clan? There aren't many things anywhere, Gui Chen Chen suggested with a smile again. It doesn't matter, we can come back and buy it if we really need it, Yang Zizi said. What on earth does this kid want to do? They can reach the human world in 1 minute, so why do they need to prepare anything in a hurry now? Ghost Chen Chen was so criticized by Yang Zizi that he continued to stay for no reason. I had no choice but to get closer to Xiao Tian Tian and said, "Xiao Tian Tian, remember, this is Uncle Gui Chen Chen's face. You must remember it. You are not allowed to forget it." Suddenly, Gui Chen Chen felt a murderous aura on his back. Suddenly, someone picked up the collar at the back of his neck with great force. He looked at Gui Chen Chen with a death stare. He glanced at Xiao Tian Tian across from him, and instantly realized that he seemed to be very close to his baby daughter. He instantly put a distance between them. He was really afraid that Lun Zhenji would beat him away in the next second. Lun Zhenji held Xiao Tiantian in his arms and looked at Gui Chen Chen with disgust, as if he had been included in the blacklist of holding his daughter. Several people were preparing to return to the vampire clan in great force. In the middle of the journey, Lun Zhenji and Gui Chen Chen struggled to hold Xiao Tiantian, but Lun Zhenji kept holding her and refused to let go. He even said, "I want my daughter to give birth to her by herself." These words made Xiao En's face turn red. But she didn't know that in fact, non-pure vampires and pure vampires cannot have children of their own. Soon, they returned to the vampire clan. As Yang Zizi said, the brothers were standing in a row at the door waiting for them to go home. Looking at this formation, I thought I was going to receive the president of some country. Gui Chen Chen took Xiao En's hand and immediately introduced his woman Xiao En to his brothers. But the brothers' attention seemed to be all on Xiao Tiantian, and they didn't even notice him, a passerby. "This is Xiao Tiantian, wow, so cute. She looks exactly like my sister when she was little." Gui Nanzuo was the first to rush forward, pinching Xiao Tianatian's little face, and then touching her little hands. Which made Lun Zhenji look very disgusted, because it reminded him of when his daughter grew up and had a boyfriend. "You have never seen me when I was a child, how do you know that he looks exactly like me?" Yang Zizi asked. "How come we haven't seen each other before? In fact, we have known that you are our sister since you were 1 year old, and the only reason why our brothers went to the human world is because of you," Gui Xiaogu explained with a smile. It turns out that his brothers have always been by his side and protected him since he was a child. Everything goes smoothly only because there are people behind to carry the load for you. "Xiao Tiantian, can you let uncle give me a hug?" Gui Nanhuo opened his hands, already looking forward to the moment when his little niece entered his arms, and therefore became cautious. Although Lun Zhenji is extremely reluctant, he is the child's biological uncle after all, so it would indeed be a bit stingy not to let him hold him. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 374. Chapter 374. Wherever you are, I will be there. Lun Zhenji generously handed Xiao Tiantian to Gui Nan Brown. Xiao Tiantian seemed to become even more joyful when she entered Gui Nanjun's arms. She was dancing happily and babbling as if she was saying something to her uncles. The uncles gathered around Xiao Tiantian, causing Yang Zizi, the favorite of the group, to lose all his former glory. "Not only did I give birth to a little love rival for myself, but I also gave birth to a little brat who competed with me for favor." In the past, her brothers were all watching her, but now, with Xiao Tiantian, he seems to have fallen out of favor. "Mom, Dad," suddenly, the excited voice of the little angel came from the sky. The little envoy landed steadily in front of Lun Zhenji and Yang Zizi, folded his wings, and threw himself into Yang Zizi's arms. "Mommy, I miss you so much," the ambassador hugged Yang Zizi and never wanted to let go. When Yang Zizi saw his son, he missed him terribly. He had not seen this little guy for decades, so he picked up the little boy. This little guy seems to have grown a lot taller and gained a lot of weight. Yang Zizi could hardly hold this little guy. Come to daddy's arms." Lun Zhenji saw that his wife seemed to be struggling to hold the little guy. She opened her arms and wanted to hold the little guy herself. The little guy was also very sensible and threw himself into Lun Zhenji's arms, but his eyes were still fixed on Yang Zizi. "Envoy, don't you want to see your sister?" Lun Zhenji asked. "I think so, but now that my uncles are surrounding my sister, I'm afraid I'll be squeezed out," the little envoy said, looking so cute. Yang Zizi touched the little envoy's little head and looked at the little envoy happily. "I haven't seen the little guy for decades. He has really grown up a lot, and his abilities have improved a lot. Tell me, Mommy, what have you learned in the past few decades?" Yang Zizi touched the back of the envoy's head and asked with a smile. Mommy, let me tell you secretly, the little angel can also do defense, the little angel said excitedly, as if this was something worth showing off. Yang Zizi was very pleased, he was worthy of being his own son. In the future, whether it is protecting your parents, your sister, or other people, it will be very helpful. A group of people stood like this at the door of the vampire clan for several hours. The uncles looked at Xiao Tiantian and forgot to go back. Lun Chenqi and Yang Zizi were enjoying listening to the envoy's story about what they had experienced in the past few decades, and forgot the time for a while. But Gui Chen and Xiao En, who were standing aside, suddenly disappeared. This is where you grew up. Xiao En was not very accustomed to such an environment for a while, because it was dark here, with no sunlight or light. It was very dark, but his eyes could clearly see things 10 meters away. He felt eerie and cold here, but as a vampire, she would not be too slow to adapt. Yes, do you think this place looks very eerie? Gui Chen said with a smile. He was afraid that she wouldn't like living in this place. After all, they might have to live here forever. No, wherever you are, there is warm sunshine. Xiao En hugged Gui Chen tightly, feeling his temperature. Although it was cold, it was so warm to her. Xiao En, how about we live here together from now on? Gui Chen asked gently. Okay, I will be where you are. Xiao En felt happier than ever before. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 375. Chapter 375 Permanent Memory. Gui Chen took Xiao En all over the vampire clan. Although this place was small for the human world, it was very warm. Even if the air around was humid, wherever Gui Chen was there, she would be happy no matter what. It feels like heaven. Everywhere Gui Chen went, he would tell Xiao En stories about his childhood and tell her his growth record. Do you remember everything when you were young? Xiao En asked curiously. After all, they have lived for nearly 1,000 years, how could they remember it so clearly? Gui Chen smiled and said, don't underestimate the memory of us vampires. We can remember even memories from 10,000 years ago. It's like I have you firmly in my heart. At night, the family finally got together happily. When they were at the door, Xiao Tiantian suddenly stole all the limelight, leaving Gui Chen no time to introduce his girlfriend to his brothers. He also didn't know what kind of reactions they would have after the introduction. Logically speaking, if they were very angry, they would have sent someone to kill Xiao En secretly. Moreover, he was not the only one who transformed human beings on his own initiative. It seems that their sister Gui Kale was also involved. But Gui Kale seems to have not had any contact with the vampires recently, and has even completely broken away from the vampires. Xiao En, let me introduce my family to you. This is my eldest brother Gui Xiaogu, who is also the ruler of the Blood Clan, followed by Gui Nan Brown, Gui Yi, Gui Yunyo, and my little nephew Xiaoxi. Yang Zizi, Lun Chenqi, and Xiao Tiantian had already been introduced to her, so she naturally skipped them. Hello, my name is Xiao En, and I am Gui Chen's girlfriend. Xiao En did not shy away from her relationship with Gui Chen. Naturally, she did not know that Gui Chen's transformation was against the rules. You may lose your life as a result. The brothers looked at Gui Chen with serious words. They didn't know what to do. On the one hand, they had an iron rule that had been irreversible for tens of thousands of years. On the other hand, they had a woman who was deeply loved by their biological brother. No matter which side they choose, it seems to be disadvantageous for them. If they choose to continue to uphold the norms of the vampire clan, they will lose a lovely younger brother or older brother. If they choose to let it go, it is unbelievable what the world will become if many vampires act so wantonly. Moreover, how many newborn vampires can control their thirst for blood? Impossible. When there is a large-scale fighting, no one will be able to survive. And the demons in this world are even less likely to tolerate such a thing happening, because in their view, it will affect their power to rule the entire clan. In the end, they neither warmly welcomed Xiao En's arrival, nor did they intend to blame Gui Chen Chen for breaking the rules of the blood clan. Instead, they sat together and finished the meal happily as a family. After all, could this happen in the future? The opportunity to sit down and have a meal together probably turned into a delusion. At first, people are not particularly complete now. Without the biological sister Gui Kale, who is both father and mother, although it is not perfect, with the addition of the little niece, it can be considered complete. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 376. Chapter 376 Descendants of Angels. Gui Ziogu thought he was the boss and had been dominating Xiao Tiantian. He hugged her for several hours and was unwilling to let go, as if he would be taken away as soon as he let go, as if he was protecting some kind of gold and silver treasure. What does Xiao Tiantian eat? Gui Ziogu watched Xiao Tiantian keep adding to her clothes, and couldn't help but ask Yang Zizi, maybe his niece was hungry. I can eat everything. Xiao Tiantian also has 1/10 of the human body, so Xiao Tiantian will also eat what human children eat. I just happened to bring a month's supply of milk powder here. When the time comes, I will drink it before going to the human. You can buy it from anywhere in the world, Yang Zizi said. Fortunately Xiao Tiantian is not bloodthirsty yet, otherwise I don't know how to supply a snack like her. Then I'll make milk powder. Gui Chen Chen was positive. Although he said that he and Xiao En would never have a child for them forever, it was not impossible to feel the feeling of having a child. Ghost Chen Chen is also very skilled at making milk powder. When the crew was filming a movie, there was a scene at the end about him becoming a father. I also filmed an episode of raising a baby, because making milk powder was really unfamiliar at that time, so Gui Chen Chen practiced the technique of making milk powder hundreds of times on the set before finally becoming proficient. This time, he wants to make milk powder for his little niece. Xiao En followed suit, thinking that if he and Gui Chen Chen had a child of their own in the future, it would not be so difficult to make milk powder. What she didn't know was that it was impossible for them to have children of their own. Pure vampires and non-pure vampires were ultimately infertile. This was not only because of the rules between races, but also because the two people's physiques were completely different. Not the same, leading to infertility. Soon, Gui Chen Chen made milk powder and wanted to feed Xiao Tiantian the milk himself, but Gui Ziogu avoided him. He refused. He hasn't had enough of his little niece yet, so no one can her away from him. He will definitely know how to breastfeed, it's such a simple thing. Ghost Xiaogu took the bottle and fed Xiao Tiantian unskilledly. The younger brothers looked on and wanted to hold their little niece in their arms, but their eldest brother didn't know when he started to become overbearing and rude. In the past, he would get jealous with anyone who competed with him for the little messenger. Now, he would get jealous with anyone who competed with him for the little sweetie. What a moody ghost. It was not until the dinner was over that Yang Zizi and his wife wanted to take Xiao Tiantian to rest. Ghost Xiaogu reluctantly let go of Xiao Tiantian. The other brothers were even more excited and could only watch but not touch. After Lun Zhenji put Xiao Tiantian to sleep, the only ones who were awake were the couple and their eldest son. The ambassador lay on the edge of the bed and finally saw his biological sister up close. It was not easy. The little ambassador couldn't help but stretched out her hand, wanting to cut off a section of Xiao Tiantian's plump little face, which was so white and tender that it seemed like it was about to overflow with water. It turns out that mom and dad went to the human world to give birth to a little sister after the ambassador concluded, he suddenly said this. Yang Zizi and Lun Chenchi looked at each other and smiled, and they did not deny that the envoy's words were not bad, and they could be considered to have a second child. But strictly speaking, Xiao Tianatian's arrival should be very unexpected. Lun Chenchi hugged Yang Zizi and looked at him gratefully. If she hadn't insisted on having another child for herself, he might not have known what it was like to have a daughter until now. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 377. Chapter 377 Protecting My Sister. Mom and Dad, why is my sister called Xiao Tiantian? The ambassador suddenly turned to look at the couple and asked with a puzzled expression. Because you and your sister are both descendants of angels and have the blood of angels. I want you to know that you are very precious angels in this world. You must continue to carry this bloodline and rebuild the angel race. Yang Zizi touched the little envoy's head and looked at his son with relief. Perhaps this is why he insisted on having another daughter. Since the angel race has been destroyed, she will definitely find a way to rebuild them. Are there really angels in this world? The little angel asked in confusion, tilting his head. Of course, you, sister and mommy are all descendants of angels. Yang Zizi taught his son gently. The angel is now over 200 years old. It's time to know who he is and what he will be like when he grows up. What kind of heavy responsibility do you have to shoulder? Do you know why our wings are black and white, while my uncle, dad, and other vampires all have black wings? The little ambassador shook his head in confusion. He didn't understand why. His uncles never told him. They only told him that he must become stronger in order to protect the people he wanted to protect. As a child, he always remembered what his uncles said to him. Boys must shoulder all responsibilities and protect their parents and younger sisters. Because you are the child of a vampire and an angel, and you and your sister have the blood of both vampires and angels. Yang Zizi touched the little envoy's head. He believed that his children would continue to do so from generation to generation until the day when the angel clan prospered. Oh, the little angel nodded in understanding, then turned to look at his sister who was sleeping quietly, and said, I will definitely protect my sister and my parents. Just protect your sister, and leave your mother to me, Lun Chenchi said. This silly boy doesn't give his biological father any face at such a young age. Let's protect it together, the ambassador said, with such a cute little expression that people couldn't help but want to kiss him. Do you want to sleep with your sister? Yang Zizi asked gently. No, the little envoy basically doesn't need to sleep now. You can go and do whatever you want. I will stay by my sister's side. If she wakes up, I will play with her, the little envoy said to Yang Zizi, and Lun Chenchi waved his hand and told them to leave quickly and not to disturb him from admiring his sister's beauty. Yang Zizi smiled. This little guy hasn't seen each other for so many years. He has really grown up a lot. He knows how to take care of his sister and create a private space for his parents. It seems that over the years, my uncles have worked hard to teach their little angel well. When they have nothing to do, the couple likes to sit on the top of the mountain, look at the moon in the distance and the surrounding clouds and mist, and enjoy the good time that belongs only to them. Ziazi Lun Chenchi called his name in a very soft and gentle voice, his chin gently resting on the top of her head, his eyes full of doting on her. Huh, Yang Zizi responded softly, lying in his arms and feeling his deep love for her. When Xiao Tiantian grows up a little, how about I take you to every corner of the world? Lun Chenchi said, his tone full of deep love for her. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 378. Chapter 378 Exit. You won't be reluctant to leave your little lover? Yang Zizi raised his head and glanced at him. Good guy, I used to hold Xiao Tiantian in my arms every day and never let go, but now I actually said I would take her to travel all over the country. Fool, I only have you in my heart, and I can't hold anyone else. The wife is the eternal love, and the children are just the love related by blood. I think we have been together for more than 500 years. We are both an old couple. Yang Zizi lamented that time flies by so fast. They would have been together for almost 600 years. If they were just ordinary people, if they were human beings, it might not be possible to accompany them for so many years. They are both lucky and can accompany each other for countless hundreds and thousands of years. Lun Zhenqi smiled and hugged her tightly. The two people hugged each other tightly like this, looking at the beauty of the moonlight shining on them in the distance. Being able to be by each other's side forever is simply an extremely happy thing. At this time, the vampires and their brothers would often gather at this old place, and no matter what matters of the heart or secrets were discussed, they would all be held here. Did I disappoint you? Gui Chen Chen lowered his head, but he had no regrets at all. If he had it to do over again, he would still choose to change Xiao En. Otherwise, the two of them would be extremely miserable in every life together. It was painful, and moreover, Xiao En in this life left at the most beautiful age. He was unwilling to give up her in this life. It's not entirely disappointing, it's more of a surprise and a shock. The brothers never imagined that Gui Chen Chen would actually fall in love with a human girl, and they were even extremely crazy about it. Gui Xiaogu once thought that the person most likely to have feelings for a human girl would be Gui Yunyuo, but unexpectedly, it was quite the opposite, and it would be Gui Chen Chen. This was something he never expected. As long as you don't hurt Xiao En, I can do anything. Gui Chen Chen looked at Gui Xiaogu and felt calm. The brothers and sisters were in a heavy mood. They had just finished dealing with the matter of their half-sister, and now the younger brother had the same problem again. Does he really want to give up his biological brother because of the eternal rules of the blood clan? The answer is of course. There are hundreds of thousands of vampires in the vampire clan. As the prince of the vampire clan, Gui Chen Chen has done something illegal, so he must be treated equally. Otherwise, the vampire clan and the human world will become very bad. We won't hurt anyone, not to mention you are still my biological brother. Just because you are a human, you may not be able to live with us. Ghost Xiaogu you said sincerely, which means that Gui Chen Chen must voluntarily quit the vampire clan and become a wandering. Vampires no longer enjoy supreme rights. Gui Chen Chen sighed. Withdrawing from the vampire clan meant that the brothers would have to sever their ties with each other and would never be able to see each other again. Even if they did meet, they would still be strangers. The brothers are okay, but the only one he can't bear to part with the most is Yang Zizi, his biological sister. However, since you have chosen this path, you will inevitably lose something if you gain it. Tonight, I will leave with Xiao En, and I will leave it to you to take care of Zizi. Gui Chen Chen felt his nose was sour, and this wonderful feeling left him speechless. What are you talking about? Zizi is our biological sister. What do you mean, please? Gui Yin right hit Gui Chen Chen on the chest. He was a heartless guy who didn't even want his home for a woman. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 379. Chapter 379 Farewell. Among the brothers, the one who is most reluctant to part with Gui Chen Chen is probably Gui Yunyuo. Growing up, Gui Yunyu and Gui Chen Chen often did everything together. Although they are quintuplets, they don't know why the relationship between them seems to be better than that of the other brothers. Ghost Chen Chen smiled and patted his shoulder, grinning, covering up his reluctance to leave this family. He has lived here for nearly 10,000 years, and it is indeed a lot of reluctance to leave like this. You must also promise me one thing. If you break it, we can only become enemies. Gui Xiaogu, who had been standing at the back with his head bowed and silent for a long time, suddenly came forward, looked firmly into Gui Chen Chen's eyes, and gave instructions to Gui Chen Chen extremely seriously. Ghost Chen Chen smiled knowingly. This time he had broken their hearts and made it impossible for them to live together normally. However, it is absolutely impossible for him to embarrass his brothers again. After all, this time, the brothers have been very tolerant and will not pursue anything. He was full of gratitude to his brothers and could no longer put them in a dilemma. Don't worry, Xiao En and I will never have children forever. Gui Chen Chen didn't need to think about it to know what Gui Xiaogu wanted to promise him. And he has already guessed it and will definitely do it. Go say goodbye to your sister. Maybe we will never see each other again. They have eternity, but the world is so small. After this separation, they may never see each other again, and even if they meet, they may only be the same. Just pass by like a stranger. Gui Chen Chen shook his head. The brothers were all shocked. Gui Chen Chen loved his sister very much, and he didn't even want to say goodbye. But if you think about it carefully, if it were them, they might make the same choice as Gui Chen Chen. It's hard to say goodbye, especially when you see the person you care about most, and you may want to give up everything the next second. No need, I believe my sister will understand me. Gui Chen Chen's mood became even heavier. Ghost Xiaogu really couldn't bear it. After all, they had grown up in the same mother's womb, grew up in the same place, and experienced many things together. He lowered his eyes, patted Gui Chen Chen on the shoulder, and said, "The communication equipment in the human world is still very advanced now." Gui Chen Chen finally smiled and felt somewhat relieved. He knew that his brothers would never sever ties with him just like this. Take care of yourself. The brothers embraced Gui Chen Chen one by one and gave him the most precious blessings. In the dead of night, Gui Chen Chen and Xiao En walked side by side with their fingers intertwined. Xiao En felt a little uneasy. This was the place where he grew up. Here were his brothers and sisters, as well as his beloved family. Just for himself, he gave up everything, even the most noble status of the blood clan. Gui Chen Chen squeezed Xiao En's hand, gave her a smile, and asked her to relax. This was the beginning of their happy life. Chen Chen. She wanted to say something, but was stopped by Gui Chen Chen's smile. He hoped that Xiao En would support him 100% in every decision he made, and not have any worries, because they were about to form a family, and he would be the backbone of the family of two. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 380. Chapter 380. Buying milk powder. In the silence of the two people, you can still see the hopeful light in the couple's eyes for the future. Your eternal life will be entrusted to me. It was already early the next morning when I learned that Gui Chen Chen and Xiao En had left. The sun was shining slightly into the castle, and a beam of light came in. Gui Chen Chen is becoming more and more rude. He doesn't even say a word to me when he leaves. Although Yang Zizi complained, he could understand in his heart why Gui Chen Chen didn't say goodbye to him in person. He was afraid that the tears would fall, and he was even afraid that he would be soft-hearted and want to stay with Xiao En. This makes it even more difficult for the brothers and sisters. Mommy, Uncle Chen Chen has his own reasons for not saying goodbye to you in person. The messenger comforted Yang Zizi while pushing the stroller. Yang Zizi's face changed instantly and said, "Of course Mommy knows, she just wants to complain about this kid." The brothers were all amused by Yang Zizi's cute appearance. Xiao Tiantian was babbling, kicking her calves and waving her little hands, wanting to interact with Yang Zizi. Yang Zizi picked up Xiao Tiantian. This little guy was very double-standard at such a young age. Today Lun Zhenji happened to be away, so Xiao Tiantian kept pestering Yang Zizi. If Lun Zhenji was here, he probably wouldn't even pay attention to herself. As expected, the whole family is concerned about appearance. She also admitted that with such a large family, Lun Zhenji's appearance can be said to be the most outstanding, and of course her brothers are also very good. Mommy, Let me hold my sister. Fortunately, she still has a son who loves her the most, and he can't bear to see her suffer even a little bit of fatigue or grievance. Yang Zizi put Xiao Tiantian in the little envoy's arms. The little messenger has grown up a lot now and looks like a 6-year-old child. His good looks are becoming more and more obvious. When he grows up, he will probably be better than his father. It is indeed a matter of inheriting only some aspects of the parents. Little sweetness is small, and his appetite is indeed big. Yang Ziseeds thought that the milk powder he brought could be supplied to Xiaotian for a month. I didn't expect it to do it for you in half a month. Yang Zizi was about to go to the human world to buy another half-month's worth of milk powder when the messenger suddenly stood up and offered to run for Yang Zizi. She knelt down, touched the back of her son's head, and said happily, "Then remember to be careful on the road." "Don't worry, my current speed is almost the same as my father's." The little envoy raised his head proudly and said. Yang Zizi was not dissatisfied with the young envoy's proud look, because it was his capital, and he had his own capital to be proud of. She did not object at all, but supported it. "Well, then go and come back quickly." As soon as Yang Zizi finished speaking, the little envoy felt a breeze blowing by, and the little guy's shadow disappeared. Because he eats a lot, Xiao Tiantian grows up quickly and is very healthy. Within a few months after he was born, he has already learned to walk on his own and walk steadily. Xiao Tiantian was learning to walk steadily in front, followed by the flower protector Lun Chenqi. His hands were always open, so that he could pick up Xiao Tiantian faster and more steadily when he suddenly fell. In the end, Lun Chenqi was too worried. Xiao Tiantian walked very steadily, and there was no danger of falling. Yang Zizi looked at the father and son and felt extremely satisfied. With this kind of life, she will never feel bored for eternity, just because of them. End of this chapter.